Hello viewers, welcome back to the next video. Now in the previous video we discussed the law of demand, right? We defined law of demand as it's the inverse relationship between price and demand when all other things are kept constant. Now this is the textual way of defining the demand. Now there are three other ways in which the law of demand can be represented. Now which are the three other ways? The second method of presenting the law of demand is called the tabular method, or it can also be called the schedule. The next one is the graphical method of representing the law of demand, and last one is the equation form. So the four ways of representing the law of demand are textual, tabular, graphical and the equation. Now let's see the second, third and the fourth way of representing the law of demand. Now the second method, as I told you, is the tabular way in which the law of demand can be represented. We know that all other factors are kept constant. We are considering only two factors. One is the price and other is the demand. So how would the table look? The table looks something like this. Now there are only two factors that we are considering. One is the price and other is the quantity demanded. Now let us say price was 1 rupee, it increases to 2, then it becomes 3. So the price is increasing. Now let us say when the price was 1 rupee, the quantity demanded was 10 units. Now when price increased from 1 to 2, the demand would reduce from 10 to 8. Now when price increases from 2 rupees to 3 rupees, what happens to the demand? The demand would further reduce and let's say it reaches 6 units. So what do we understand? As price increases, the demand is decreasing and all other factors are kept constant. So this is the tabular way of representing the law of demand. Now this third method of representing the law of demand is the graphical method. Now how does the graphical method work? Let us consider two axes, the x-axis and the y-axis. This is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, and this becomes the origin. Now let us consider price on the y-axis and let us consider the quantity demanded on the x-axis. Now what sort of a curve we get? We get a negatively sloped curve which slopes from left hand top to right hand bottom. Now let us name this curve as d dash. So what happens here? When the price is very high, the demand is at its minimum. As price decreases, what is happening to the demand? The demand is increasing. So this is the graphical method of representing the law of demand, right? So we have learned three ways of representing demand. First one is the textual form, the second one is the tabular form, the third one is the graphical form. We have the next next type in which the law of demand can be represented, and it is in the form of an equation. Now how does the law of demand equation look? It looks something like this. QD is equal to A minus B into P. Now this is the equation which represents the law of demand. Now we are familiar with few of the factors here. The first one is the quantity demanded, QD. We are also aware of the other factor, P, that is price. Now we are left with three factors here, A, the minus sign, and the B. Now what does B represent? B represents the slope of the demand curve. So this is what B represents. And what does A represent? A represents the maximum demand that can be achieved when P is equal to 0. So what happens now? If P is equal to 0, 0 into B becomes 0 and QD will be equal to A. So what is A representing? It is representing the maximum demand when price is exactly equal to 0. Now what is the last factor that we are left with? We are left with this minus sign. So what is this minus sign representing there? It is representing the inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. So what does it mean? It means that when price increases, demand decreases. When price decreases, demand increases. So this relation is represented by this minus sign. So the four ways of representing the law of demand are the textual form, the second is the tabular form, third is the graphical form, and fourth is the equation. Hope you are clear with the different ways of representing the law of demand. Thank you so much.